taking time for your health. The African American Wellness Watch. Trusted information for us, by us. Dr. Mike Lenore and other experts from around the country and around the world have the latest on how you and your family can get healthy and stay well. It's time for the African American Wellness Watch. Welcome to the Wellness Watch. I'm your moderator, George Strait. We take great pride in bringing you healthcare information that you will get nowhere else. Today's program is really a perfect example. As we all know, by almost every measure, the health of African Americans is worse than whites. We've got more heart disease, diabetes, cancer, on and on. We also die sooner. Well, today's program will focus on a strategy to help mitigate this situation. Studies show that when Black patients are seen by Black doctors and other minorities, their healthcare improves. But the number of Black doctors has been falling for years, and the attacks on affirmative action certainly will not help. Well, today we highlight an effort that's having great success in reversing that trend. The program is called Doctors on Board, and it's sponsored by the Physicians Medical Forum. To talk about it are two medical students who are products of the program. We've got Dana Abdelgader, who's a first-year student at UCLA's medical school. Dana, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
And we've got Damon Rogers, a first-year student at UC Davis Medical School. Damon, welcome.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
We've also got one of the founders of the Physicians Medical Forum, Dr. Warren Strudwick. And of course, we have our host, Dr. Mike Lenore. Michael?
All right. Well, welcome all of you to this program. I'm more than happy to discuss a program which I think is as important as any program in the country relative to increasing the number of Black physicians in our minority position from underserved communities into our landscape. I'd like to start the questioning with Dr. Warren Strudwick. I have an image of a few of you at the Physicians Medical Forum sitting around the table with a lot of money on the table and deciding what to do with it. How did you come up with the concept of Doctors on Board?
Well, PMF came together as a community effort to support African-American physicians here in Northern California. And support means recruiting them to the community and supporting them as they come to the community. We did get sources of income from various companies in the area. And what we decided to do was something very innovative. To bring students, high school students, college students, postgraduate students together for a series of lectures and events, speed mentoring, dissection of cadavers, suturing techniques, and lectures on what to do and how to get into medical school and how to plot out your career. And we named this Doctors on Board. And it's a very exciting program because we've done it for 10, 12 years now. And we brought together a bunch of students, a bunch of people who are interested in medical school and medical professions. It doesn't necessarily have to be as doctors, but we concentrate on doctors because we are a board of doctors trying to make more doctors. So we decided that since studies have indicated since the early 2000s that what we call concordant care, meaning you want to see a doctor that looks like you, and you feel more comfortable with a doctor that looks like you, and you can communicate better with a doctor that looks like you, and perhaps there may be some cultural alignment with a doctor that looks like you, and you'll be more likely to follow their lead, to have a good doctor-patient relationship with them, and participate in your care in a very positive way. So in order to do that, we decided that we would put this program on and essentially mentor people through the process of becoming a doctor. And these are primarily African-American students, some other people of color, and some other people also. We just want to make sure that we enhance the number of African-American and underrepresented minority doctors into our community. And this is a very, very exciting program, which he's done over 10 to 12 years. And the students here can attest. They have both participated in our program and also aided in the program years later, coming back. And they've really been very, very helpful in advancing this program and making it not only a local phenomenon, but also a national phenomenon. We have students from all over the country, especially during the COVID years where everyone could come in virtually. We've even had some international students that have come in and enjoyed our program. It's been very, very rewarding for the students. It's been very, very rewarding for us as mentors to the students. And we're hoping that we can increase the number of African-American physicians in this country so we can help to enhance the quality of care and help in some way to decrease the healthcare disparities that we still possess in this country.
Yeah, so I think that's certainly unique among programs in this country. I don't know of another that does it quite that way for that reason. Dana, tell us a little bit about your march into the medical situation in the medical school. Tell us what it's like before Doctors on Board, and tell us how they've helped you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, my journey with Physicians Medical Forum, I attended Doctors on Board when I was a freshman in college. And I knew going into college, I wanted to be a doctor for a couple of reasons. One, I saw very unique issues that my community faced, my family faced, and I felt like, I've also never seen a Black doctor. I never had a Black doctor up until post-college. And so it was very interesting, kind of that nuances between needing care and the people providing that care. And so going into college, I knew I kind of wanted to help tackle that problem. I didn't quite know how. And so I came across Doctors on Board. And at Doctors on Board, it was the first time I saw so many Black doctors, let alone in one place. And I didn't even know there were so many in the Bay Area. And so from that moment forward, I continued with their programs, their internships, and got this longitudinal mentorship that I don't think I would have gotten anywhere else. And that in itself made a huge difference in my career trajectory and my journey to medical school. And I ended up taking a few years off after college and just doing research and continuing to work with this organization and with the Black community in order to really understand the unique health issues that we face and how we can put the trust back in doctors for the Black community. And so it really shaped my career trajectory, and I ended up at UCLA where I started last fall.
And Damon, tell us about your journey.
Definitely, yes. I feel like my journey starts with family health issues, particularly my grandmother. We had to go to the emergency department a lot for various health conditions that she had faced, a lot of chronic conditions. And there's a lot of health issues in my family as well that I saw. And one of the common denominators is that none of them really trusted the physicians that were in their care. So it was hard for them to really continue with the medication regimens or whatever the plan was for their health. They didn't want to follow it because they didn't feel like the doctor was thinking about their best interest. And this got me thinking, like, I want to be a doctor that my family, my grandmother could be proud of, can feel safe with, and also listen to and feel like they're being heard by. So that's the trajectory started from there when I was a young boy, probably around 8 or 10 years old. But I didn't really understand what it meant to be a physician. I didn't see any physicians that looked like me growing up at all. So it was kind of difficult to see myself in that position. I started volunteering at student-run clinics such as Imani Clinic, where I got more hands-on experiences with patients, got to take their vitals, listen to their stories, hear their concerns of why they're in. And I just really appreciated those like connections between humans and people who are both from the Black community, just trying to help become better. And then going into my second year of college in about 2018, I went into the Doctors on Board program in Berkeley. And it was just an amazing experience. Like Dana had mentioned, it was the first time I've ever seen Black doctors, let alone a room of them. And it was just very inspiring and motivating for me. It allowed me to find great mentors that I still keep in contact today, and just allowed me to see myself in that position of being a physician. So is something I really appreciate, and I've just tried to continue being a part of because I understand how pivotal mentorship is, especially as someone who's underrepresented in medicine. So after graduating from college, I went into a post-bac program myself to really focus on my grades, as well as just become more competitive for the application cycle. And here I am today now as a first-year med student at UC Davis, and I also started in the fall, like Dana.
Now, Warren, I'm an outcomes person. Tell us how successful your program has been, and at least with your stated objective of getting young people into medicine and health-related careers.
Well, we've been very, very successful. As you can see, these are two of our stellar graduates. There are many people ahead of them right now that are actually in residency presently, and also practicing physicians already in every single specialty: internal medicine, family practice, general surgery, orthopedic surgery, neurosurgery. There are graduates from our program that have exceeded our expectations. We certainly have at least up to 50 or 60 people that have chosen medicine as a career. Not all of them have been doctors. We have supported nursing also, and paramedical specialties such as PAs and medical assistants. So we have run the gamut. I think we're doing our job. I think our job can be done better. We can always improve on the way that we do things, the way we present information. But we will pat ourselves on the back a little bit because this has been a very successful program in forming a pipeline, or giving people the dream, turning people's dreams into a reality, and them being able to see African American physicians and people just like them that allow them to believe that they can accomplish their medical professional goals.
There's one thing that pops to mind, and that is that reality. So Dana and Damon are living a reality, albeit just 1 year in. So what's it like?
I can start. It's been wonderful. It's a lot of work, but that was to be expected. I will say that I feel very prepared because over the past few years, I was kind of able to build this idea of what med school looks like, the different licensing exams that you have to take during and after and applying to residency. And so I feel like I'm going into this experience kind of knowing like what the next step is and what I have to do to get there. It is a lot of work. It's like a full-time job, but it's also very gratifying. And I feel like I'm finally fulfilling this purpose and finding something that I'm really passionate about learning every day. You go into the anatomy lab at least once a week, and it's just such a new experience, but also such a fascinating experience. And knowing that I'm going to be able to apply what I'm learning every single day in the future is a really satisfying feeling and kind of keeps me motivated to stay on top of everything.
And Damon, what about you?
Oh man, it's been keeping me busy, to say the least. There's this analogy of medical school being like drinking from a fire hydrant, and I didn't really understand it until being in the position of drinking from that said fire hydrant. That being said, although it is a lot of studying, a lot of just making sure I'm up to date on the material that's being taught in class, it's a very rewarding experience because not many people get this opportunity. And I'm reminded of that, like when I'm seeing patients and many of them coming from underserved backgrounds. I still volunteer at clinics through the medical school, which is something that I'm really passionate about, working in underserved places. So having that ability to take what I'm learning in class and applying it actually in real time is like really amazing to see. Also getting to practice with different ultrasound machines and learning about imaging, actually being able to read what is on the screen so I can better help patients in the future I feel like UC Davis has been really preparing us to be the best physicians possible to help our communities. And I really enjoy it. Although it is a lot of work, I couldn't see myself doing anything different.
Can I ask a question? Can I ask a question of them, Mike? Can I? You mind? Okay, so both of you have said that when you came to Doctors on Board, that you hadn't ever encountered an African American physician. I've been in that situation myself on the other side of things, where African American patients have come to me, and one guy was just staring at me, and I'm like, "Why are you staring at me, man?" He's like, I've never ever seen a Black doctor ever, and this was a very intelligent, highly accomplished African American male who had never ever seen a Black doctor. So, tell me how you felt at that moment, and whether it was empowering, and did it fill you with hope? What were your feelings at that moment when you actually saw doctors who could possibly help you and mentor you and give you a vision of what you could be?
It's hard to describe, honestly, the feeling. It was shocking, first of all. But it was such a feeling of like hope, and feeling like, wow, okay, this is it. There's that saying, like, you can't be what you can't see. And like then and there, I saw like my future, and saw like what I had the potential to be. And even seeing just kind of the variety of physicians, the different specialties, the different levels people were in their career. There was med students, residents, attendings, all of that. Just like I could envision myself at every step of the process. And it really felt like, okay, this is it. I am meant to be here. It was super affirming, and just so exciting, because I remember at that first Doctors on Board, I was able to meet so many people that, one, I'm still in touch with until today, and just learn so much about the field of medicine that I hadn't even learned up until that point. And so it was great. And they also, I think it was the first time I had put on a white coat at Doctors on Board. At the beginning of the program, every student gets a white coat. And so that, in combination with like seeing everyone around me, it felt like I'm meant to be here.
Awesome. What about you, Damon?
Yeah, I can echo a lot of what Dana said, but I particularly remember driving back home with my mom, and I just kept saying, I was like, wow, that was awesome. And she was like, how many times are you going to say that? You've been saying that this whole car ride on the way back from Berkeley to Sacramento. So it was just an amazing program, and it was an amazing feeling to feel that support. Like Dana was saying, seeing medical students, residents, attendings, like who look like you in various fields. It was very empowering. And it made me feel like I can do this. There's no reason I couldn't. They're able to do it as well. And, they've worked under, or had to get their training and become certified in a lot more scrutiny that I may face currently. And I could say it's thanks to them that I don't have to maybe fight as hard to get into their position. So I'm really appreciative of the shoulders that I'm standing on, and being in that room just felt so welcoming, and it felt like home. And I was determined to give this feeling to other students in the future, because I believe I was 19 years old before I saw the group of doctors. So it's been a long time, and I want people to experience that even earlier. So yeah, it was an amazing experience.
That's awesome.
Yeah, as we're going through in the few minutes that remain, we've alluded to the conference. We've alluded to the annual event that you have called Doctors on Board. Warren, can you just give us a little bit more detail as to what people can expect, and say a few words about how important it is for people who want to go into medicine to start as early as they realize that's a goal?
Well, being in medicine, as you know, Dr. Lenore, it's a long road. It's a long road, and takes a tremendous amount of commitment to do. As the first year medical students will testify, it's hard. The first couple of years of medical school is hard. Sometimes undergrad, getting into medical school is a difficult road. But once you decide to do it, there are certain things that you can do along the way to ease that road. I would put number one at the list as mentorship. is for students to find someone, somewhere, some program where they can get a clear vision of what it takes and get a vision that they too can accomplish their goals. So the Doctors on Board program, which we have annually, is usually split into two segments. We learned a lot through COVID that our first segment can be virtual. And so the first segment is virtual, where we have workshops with the American Association of Medical Colleges. We have the Princeton Review come in and give a talk about preparation for examinations leading up to medical school. We have communication forums about how once you apply to medical schools, how you conduct your interviews and how you present yourself, all the way down to the rawness of what your email looks like. You can't have crazy looking emails if you're going to into this seriously. So we talk about research and why that's important for people who may not want to practice medicine, but may want to go into research. And there's so much more that we discuss on that first virtual. So the most exciting part, of course, for us doctors is the second segment, which we did have on separate weekends, but more recently we have on the same weekend. So it's a Saturday and Sunday. So we have the speakers from medical schools come in. We have speed mentoring sessions. We have a mentoring luncheon. We have mock patient presentations where we have patients come in with certain illnesses that the students are presented certain information and have to make a diagnosis. We have suturing sessions where we use some cadaver parts. We have a forum for parents of the students so they can familiarize themselves with the process of getting into medical school. And of course, we have the closing ceremony where everyone's presented with a certificate of participation. And hopefully they leave with inflated hope that they too can do what we're doing.
In conversations with Damon and with Dana, one of the things that struck me in our conversations was how their presence in their medical schools has actually already changed the viewpoint of some of their colleagues. Because especially in Dana's case, Dana, why don't you talk about how your worldview has affected your classmates, many of whom have never seen someone like you in their classroom?
Yeah. So medicine is very diverse, right? And a lot of people come with so many different backgrounds and life experiences. But there is a unique perspective that I've noticed that Black students of color in general, but I think Black students can contribute to the conversation, whether it be, for example, ranging from skin conditions, when we're looking at dermatological conditions and what that looks like on different colors and different types of skin, to different perspectives about, cultural factors or community practices that are different across communities and really affects how people receive care, how they interact with the healthcare system, how they interact with their doctors, and just the world around them. And so I've noticed that Black students tend to bring that perspective to the conversation at school and really at every kind of level throughout the training. And so that's been really gratifying to be able to contribute to that.
So I guess we are looking at the future. Dana, thank you very much. Good luck. Damon, thank you very much. Good luck. Dr. Strudwick, as always, fabulous work. I was watching your face as they were talking, and I just saw you were beaming like a father. So this what the forum has done and will do should be supported and will be supported. And ultimately, begin to address some of the issues that we talked about at the very beginning of the program. Dr. Lenora, I'll leave it to you to close us out.
Well, this is interesting because one of the smiles on Dr. Strudwick's face is because he, in the last 24 hours, got a new grandson or granddaughter. And so I see why he's so joyous. But I'd like to thank both of you for sharing your experiences. As Black doctors, we understand that the earlier you start, the more likely you are to succeed. And what Doctors on Board has been responsible for almost 600 Black doctors, right here out of a program that it was initiated here in Oakland. So I want to thank both of you for joining us. Dr. Strudwick, to you, and Physicians Medical Forum, thank you. And remember, as we always say on the Wellness Watch, health is your biggest asset, so protect it.
Well, I don't think we're going to have to edit anything. You guys were great. You guys were great.
Oh, thank you. That's good to hear.
You know, Mr. Straight, George is correct. I'm extremely proud of you guys. I mean, Dana, you were around for a long time.
Yeah.
And I've seen you grow up, and
yeah,
it's awesome. It's awesome.
Thank you.
You too, Con. I mean, it's just awesome.